So we are on John chapter 6, and it says, After these things, Jesus went over the Sea of Galilee, which is the Sea of Tiberias. And a great multitude followed him because they saw his miracles, which he did on them that were diseased. And Jesus went up into a mountain, and there he sat with his disciples. And the Passover, a feast of the Jews, was nigh. When Jesus then lifted up his eyes and saw a great company come up unto him, he saith unto Philip, Whence shall we buy bread that these may eat? And this he said to prove him, for he himself knew what he would do. Philip answered him, 200 pennyworth of bread is not sufficient for them, that every one of them may take a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, saith unto him, There is a lad here which hath 5 barley loaves and 2 small fishes, but what are they among so many? And Jesus said, Make the men sit down. Now there was much grass in the place, so the men sat down, in number about 5,000. And Jesus took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed to the disciples, and the disciples to them that were set down, and likewise of the fishes as much as they would. When they were filled, he said unto his disciples, Gather up the fragments that remain, that nothing be lost. Therefore they gathered them together, and filled 12 baskets with the fragments of the 5 barley loaves, which remained over and above unto them that had eaten. Then those men, when they had seen the miracle that Jesus did, said, This is of a truth that prophet that should come into the world. When Jesus therefore perceived that they would come and take him by force to make him a king, he departed again into a mountain himself alone. And when even was now come, his disciples went down unto the sea, and entered into a ship, and went over the sea toward Capernaum. And it was now dark, and Jesus was not come to them. And the sea arose by reason of a great wind that blew. So when they had rowed about 25 or 30 furlongs, they see Jesus walking on the sea, and drawing nigh unto the ship, and they were afraid. But he saith unto them, It is I, be not afraid. Then they willingly received him into the ship, and immediately the ship was at the land whither they went. The day following, when the people which stood on the other side of the sea saw that there was none other boat there, save that one whereinto his disciples were entered, and that Jesus went not with his disciples into the boat, but that his disciples were gone away alone. Howbeit there came other boats from Tiberias nigh unto the place where they did eat bread after that the Lord had given thanks. When the people therefore saw that Jesus was not there, neither his disciples, they also took shipping, and came to Capernaum seeking for Jesus. And when they had found him on the other side of the sea, they said unto him, Rabbi, when camest thou hither? Jesus answered them and said, Verily, verily, I say unto you, ye seek me, not because ye saw the miracles, but because ye did eat of the loaves and were filled. Labor not for the meat which perisheth, but for that meat which endureth unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you, for him hath God the Father sealed. Then said they unto him, What shall we do that we might work the works of God? Jesus answered and said unto them, This is the work of God, that ye believe on him whom he hath sent. They said therefore unto him, What sign showest thou then, that we may see and believe thee? What dost thou work? Our fathers did eat manna in the desert, as it is written, He gave them bread from heaven to eat. Then Jesus said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto you, Moses gave you not that bread from heaven, but my Father giveth you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is he which cometh down from heaven, and giveth life unto the world. Then said they unto him, Lord, evermore give us this bread. And Jesus said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst. But I said unto you that ye also have seen me, and believe not. All that the Father giveth me shall come to me, and him that cometh to me I will in no wise cast out. For I came down from heaven not to do mine own will, but the will of him that sent me. And this is the Father's will which hath sent me, that of all which he hath given me I should lose nothing, but should raise it up again at the last day. And this is the will of him that sent me, that every one which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day. The Jews then murmured at him, because he said, I am the bread which came down from heaven. And they said, Is not this Jesus the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How is it then that he saith, I came down from heaven? Jesus therefore answered and said unto them, Murmur not among yourselves. No man can come to me except the Father which hath sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. It is written in the prophets, and they shall be all taught of God. Every man therefore that hath heard and hath learned of the Father cometh unto me. Not that any man hath seen the Father, save he which is of God, he hath seen the Father. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me hath everlasting life. I am the bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness, and are dead. This is the bread which cometh down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. The Jews therefore strove among themselves, saying, How can this man give us his flesh to eat? Then Jesus said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, except ye eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, ye have no life in you. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I in him. As the living Father hath sent me, and I live by the Father, so he that eateth me, even he shall live by me. This is that bread which come down from heaven, not as your fathers did eat manna, and are dead. He that eateth of this bread shall live forever. These things said he in the synagogue, as he taught in Capernaum. Many therefore of his disciples, when they had heard this, said, This is a hard saying. Who can hear it? When Jesus knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it, he said unto them, Doth this offend you? What and if ye shall see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? It is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. But there are some of you that believe not. For Jesus knew from the beginning who they were that believed not, and who should betray him. And he said, Therefore said I unto you, that no man can come unto me, except it were given unto him of my Father. From that time many of his disciples went back, and walked no more with him. Then said Jesus unto the 12, Will ye also go away? Then Simon Peter answered him, Lord, to whom shall we go? Thou hast the words of eternal life. And we believe and are sure that thou art that Christ, the Son of the living God. Jesus answered them, Have not I chosen you 12, and one of you is a devil? He spake of Judas Iscariot, of the son of Simon, for he it was that should betray him, being one of the 12. As I was reading it, to me it felt like, again, like how Jesus was like drawing people to like spiritual things and like kind of challenging their minds a little bit. Kind of like when he asked Philip, when there was a great company, a great multitude, some versions say, and he's saying, Whence shall we buy bread that these may eat? And it's like God knows what he's going to do, but he just wanted to test him. I also feel that it was the same way, whenever Jesus was walking on the sea and he saw that, they were afraid. And it says, it is I, be not afraid, because it was defying nature, right? And then the next part was interesting. It says, in verse 21, it says, then they willingly received him into the ship. And immediately the ship was at the land whither they went. And I feel like that is a key, idea. Willingly received him, because it took faith. They were afraid. Sometimes if I'm afraid and someone says something to me, it's like I have a choice in whether I'm like, can I trust this, or do I believe that what if, that doubt that can also arise at that same opportunity. But it says they willingly received him. And then also, Jesus goes on to talk about the fact that, that the people were not coming to him because, what does he say? He said, ye seek me not because ye saw the miracles, but because ye did eat of the loaves and were filled. Seeking God because they saw the miracles, I feel like that's a level of looking above a natural expectancy. When you're seeking God and you're believing him for things, you have to look outside of what you see or what's natural. But Jesus is also trying to get them to rise above the carnality by saying, labor not for the meat which perisheth, but for that meat which endureth unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you. For him hath God the Father sealed. So the hope and satisfaction, everything has to be above, our temporary needs and desires. Especially as humans, there's always going to be something that we want. Walking with God is interesting, because I feel like he will allow you to go through things. In the Bible it says, count it all joy if you go through diverse trials, because it's like the testing of your faith, and he's looking towards that, that strength that's being built up, like your faith being substantial in him. And it takes patience, it takes denying yourself, it takes self-control, it takes at times, not being filled with, the pleasures and desires that we see in everyday life. So I felt like that was a challenge from Jesus. And then I thought it was interesting when they said, what shall we do that we might work the works of God? And Jesus answered and said unto them, this is the work of God, that ye believe on him whom he hath sent. And sometimes, God will respond to the questions that we have in, ways that we weren't expecting, or that won't gratify our flesh. They won't, it won't feel like, that it's resolving the problem necessarily that we might be having, or fulfilling an expectation that we have in the moment. He's trying to grow us and stretch us and challenge us and bring us up to that spiritual understanding, the heavenly things above that the Bible tells us to look on and focus on. They're talking about Moses and the manna, and that he gave them bread from heaven. They were saying that their fathers ate manna in the desert. And then Jesus is saying that, that staple bread, sustenance is he's the true bread from heaven. And it says, for the bread of God is he which cometh down from heaven and giveth life unto the world. So he's what sustains. It says, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst. So I like that it works together. Like, you come to Jesus and then you believe. And again, like I'm thinking on that where it says they willingly received Jesus into the ship when he said, it is I, be not afraid. It says, but I said unto you that ye also have seen me and believe not. And I feel like sometimes when we're offended by something or we don't understand something, it can be scary. And I know for me, trying to wrap my head around some of the things that I've gone through and some of the questions that I have with God, like the things that are going on. And I'm just like, God, how and why? And, a response like, be still, it's like, you can still, like I said, go in either way. You could just be like, okay, God, I'm going to trust you at your word. I'm going to be still and I'm going to trust that you are God. Or I can say, maybe feel offended or want more understanding before I'm willing to, submit to what he's telling me. I can say, how am I supposed to be still? And that's just, I'm sure like God being God, that he can do anything and that he is working all things out. And it's a process and, a journey that he's taking us on. Like, I just know for me as a parent, when my son comes back and he doesn't trust my judgment, or he's like, Mom, did you do this? Or this is what I need. And I'm just like, sometimes it hurts, So like, I feel that strong, like right now in this moment that, that he is faithful, to keep his word. And that sometimes we are in that place where we just want to be filled and we're not willing to just trust that, even the processes that we walk through, that, he's giving us everything that we need to keep moving and to get to a better place. Just like with Psalm 23, like that is one of my favorite chapters in the Bible. Like it seems like it's different places in the journey, but I mean, you just get to the end and it's like, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It's like you make it to that beautiful place. He's saying, this is the work of God, that you believe on him whom he hath sent, that we believe on him. That really sticks out to me and convicts me, honestly. Jesus is saying that I am that bread from heaven. You will never hunger again. He's given his word, and, which is bread, which is life, and that will sustain those who believe. But, we still have that leaning on our own understanding, that doubt, that unwillingness to just rest in what God is saying. And Jesus is saying, I am the bread which came down from heaven in verse 41. And then in verse 42, and they said, is not this Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How is it then that he saith, I came down from heaven? So it's still trying to look at the evidence of something that they see. And again, it's keeping them from that place of receiving life, resting in God and trusting him. And then finally, verily, verily, I say unto you, except ye eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, ye have no life in you. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I in him. As the living Father hath sent me, and I live by the Father, so he that eateth me, even he shall live by me. This is the bread that which came down from heaven, which as your fathers did eat manna, and are dead, he that eateth of this bread shall live forever. And it says in 60, many therefore of his disciples, when they had heard this said, This is an hard saying, who can hear it? When Jesus knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it, he said unto them, Doth this offend you? What and if ye shall see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? It is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit, and they are life. But there are some of you that believe not. And then we jump down to verse 66. It says, From that time, many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him. It was like, this isn't how it works in the natural. Like, how am I going to eat his flesh and drink his blood, you know? They weren't willing to understand. And Jesus also didn't really explain, you know. They were just, did anyone even ask what he meant by it? It was just, I guess, preliminary. Like, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? You know, I feel like it doesn't show that someone was just willing to sit and be like, God, can you show me what this means? What does this mean? It just doesn't feel like their hearts were open to willingly receive it at all. And so he challenges his disciples again and says, will ye also go away? And I love what Simon Peter answered and said, Lord, to whom shall we go? Thou hast the words of eternal life. And we believe and are sure that thou art that Christ, the Son of the living God. I felt like it was kind of cutthroat a little bit, how when it was talking about Judas, I'm like, oh my gosh. He said, have not I chosen you 12 and one of you is a devil? I'm like, oh Lord. It is a journey that we take with faith, just to allow ourselves to submit to the authority that Jesus is saying, that, you know, and proving that he has, being open to Jesus and what he's doing or even what he's saying that we just can't understand or we just can't wrap our minds around. Jesus was, you know, willing to just say the word and say what it is, and knowing people couldn't, you know, or wouldn't be willing to, you know, be open to it. He knows that the Father is going to provide those people who will believe on him. Like, he knows that he will be rejected, but he trusts in the purpose for which God sent him. That's another thing that I feel like I just got, like, even for Jesus to say, will you 12 leave too? Like, will you go away as well? All of which he hath given me, I should lose nothing, but should raise it up again at the last day. That level of just not being fazed by, you know, delivering a word and walking in his purpose, that's something that we need to rest in as Christians, that there are gonna be things where people are like, oh, you know, if, you know, this part of Christianity, like this appeals to me, but this part, I don't know, that's hard. I don't know about that. I don't know if I'm willing to give that. I don't know if I'm willing to receive that or even try to understand what that means. And you know, people walking away and all of it, like, just to be challenged in that, trusting that, you know, God literally will provide those opportunities, and where he sends you, if you're received, you know, you're received for that. If you're rejected, then that's just a cost, you know, but you're leaving an eternal impact. I just think that's beautiful. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, leave what any of you have gotten below if you're comfortable with it, or just reflect in your own hearts, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.